is up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you're having a great day. Sorry for the lack of videos the last week or two. Your boy was at a wedding. One of his best bros was getting married, and I was part of the groomsmen party, whatever you want to call it. Here's a picture of me looking absolutely dapper. I know, very handsome, but you know, some people are only good at one thing. I'm good at two, looking good and selling bulk. So now that we're back at it, we're going to be going into some fun stuff. Specifically today, we're going to be talking about something I did start 2 weeks ago, which I haven't really talked about much, which was joining the TCGPlayer Direct program. Now, some of you may not know what TCGPlayer Direct is or know how it works. So we're going to get into all that, go over some of my stats from the last week or two, kind of go over my thoughts on how it's been going so far. But before we do, if you don't know who I am, my name is Bronzgod. I've been selling cards mainly on TCGPlayer for just over 3 years, averaging about $40,000 a year in sales, mostly in bulk. In addition to selling trading cards, we do have 2 other channels that I've yet to post on, but that will be coming soon too, where I'm losing some weight and playing some video games. So if either of that stuff interests you, links to all those things will be in the description below. But let's get started with TCGPlayer Direct. So if you do not know what TCGPlayer Direct is, it is a premium service that TCGPlayer offers. On the seller side, which we're going to mainly talk about, it offers ungodly velocity in sales. Now, I did join this once. I want to say two and a half years ago, right around when I first started. I had a friend of mine or a local player that I used to talk to a lot who needed help liquidating a collection. I told him that I had a TCGPlayer store that I was starting, and he offered me a really good deal, basically just taking 20% of a fee for basically selling everything for him. So I was having a hard time keeping up. So I was like, yeah, TCGPlayer Direct sounds fine. And literally in 3 days, I sold like $3,000 worth of stuff. It's that serious. But for the longest time, the downside is with bulk, especially, you know, you'd have cards that are 3 or 4 cents. And then with TCGPlayer Direct, anything at $3 and under, they take half. It doesn't matter if it's a penny. It doesn't matter if it's $3, which sounds like it's bad, but it kind of isn't, because you're not paying for the stamp. You're not paying for the supplies, the time that you're saving, not packing those orders. So yes, the $2, $3 cards or orders can hurt. But in the long scheme of things, it's not that big of a cost, especially as your inventory grows and you start doing more and more things, which I'm going to discuss later. So with my inventory getting to the size as it is, I think when I started that, I was just over the 180,000 card mark. I was having trouble keeping up with orders, which I know, boohoo. But it's true. When it came to starting to take content seriously and trying to do other things, there were some nights where I was literally spending all night doing orders and had to do something a little different. So I joined TCGPlayer Direct. TCGPlayer Direct is essentially now an employee. It's like my first employee. Instead of packing a bunch of orders all week, I get an invoice. It's called a RI, or return invoice, where they send me a list of all the cards they sold, and then I send that back to them. They are basically selling their inventory, and then I replenish their inventory with my cards. So we're going to go over some of those invoices, because I was kind of shocked with some of the stuff that actually sold, with like probably 95% of what I have being bulk. I wasn't too confident, but after seeing the results, it was pretty good, especially since they raised the floor. Now, a few months ago, our friend RNG Games did a big video, and I think Mason from Cardinal actually did a follow-up with his findings, where they changed it to a flat rate of 40 cents per card on Direct. So you cannot order anything off of Direct without paying 40 cents. And why that is good for bulk, especially the type of bulk I have, is if you sell a card for 40 cents, they take half and you're netting 20 cents. And if you're buying bulk for a penny to 3 pennies a piece, you're making 4 or 5 times your money every time a card sells. Now, yes, sometimes you have to have some of the better stuff, but once you see these invoices, you're going to see that there's some pretty low value cards that do move. But the velocity is huge. I mean, some of these invoices are like 1,000 cards plus. So it was a little much at the beginning, and you know, it's a great product. I don't know if I would recommend it for everybody. I probably still technically probably shouldn't have joined it. but I wanted to see it. I wanted to see how it could affect my thing in a positive way. So let's go over some of those invoices. We'll talk a little bit more, and then kind of come to my final result on how I'm going to take things going forward. Okay, so this is the first RI I got. So this is when I started on the 1st or 2nd of April. I marked it active. And as you can see, we had a total of 1,054 cards ordered for a total value of $594.64. We're going to show another window later about the fees and stuff. It shows this little red number. I'll go over here in a second. Basically, once you get the invoice or you fill out all the stuff, they'll review it and then they will charge you back for missed conditions, missing cards. I had some missing cards. I had an issue where for a Magic set, I accidentally uploaded the same thing twice. So there were a lot of missing cards because I only had 2 cards instead of 4 or 3 cards instead of 6, which was kind of a mess, but growing pains from doing anything new. So yeah, just about 1,050 cards. And I want to go, let's see if we can open up the packing slip here. There we go. This will be better. Hopefully there we go. So there is a decent amount of Magic on some of these. Like I said before, I do have a decent amount of Magic in my inventory. Now this is, I believe, a standard RI. You have 2 different RIs. You have a standard and a preferred one. Preferred one tends to be your kind of higher moving, higher value cards, which I do have one of those. But a lot of this is just bulk rares. You know, sometimes I usually try to save bulk rares for eBay, but I did put some on here just because I wanted to get some cards moving and get some extra pennies. But when it comes to the Pokemon, that's what I wanted to focus on here. I'm actually going to move my camera to the side here. Oop. Move my camera to the side here for a second. This first section is all regular, non-reverse holo, non-holo cards. Now, as you'll see, there are a decent amount of trainers, and there's some cards here that are playable. Battle Cages, I think Kadabra, Forest of Vitality, Fighting Gong. Those are all things that are playable. But there's a lot of stuff on here that is not. Some random Dunsparces. I think that is starting to become a little playable. A lot of 151 Surging Sparks, just some random little dudes in there. And right now, I am running this side by side with having free shipping over $5. So the goal is to run this alongside free over $5 shipping at my floor, which is 15 cents. And then if I start getting overwhelmed, shut it off, and then leave direct running on the background. And then here's all the reverses and holos from this RI, which you can see there is a lot. And every single one of these cards is at least 20 cents. $19, probably something I would have never sold on my own, or probably would have taken a lot longer. Anyone that's ever been on TCGPlayer before, you have that little buy box in like the upper right-hand corner. That's like where you just go direct. You just hit one button, bam, done. But a lot of reverse holos. 1,054 cards. Now, the big thing, as I mentioned before, is the fees. I think for the $500 on this, the total value of sales was like $900, right? So that's like a 40%, 42% fee rate, which, like I said before, it sounds bad, but when you're buying cards for a penny, but you're getting 20 cents out of it, it works. At least it works for me because of the type of operation that I'm wanting to run. Yeah, obviously, like I said before, you can do eBay, maybe wait a little longer, but I'd rather sell 10 of the same card in a faster time frame for the same amount of money that it would take someone to sell one. That's just how I want to do things. The second invoice, this was the preferred RI. So this is kind of some of the bigger stuff. You got a couple mythics and rares from Magic the Gathering here that are $5-10. Actually, let's do the packing slip here just so I can have better readout. So, and then we have some decent, illustration rares down here for Pokemon. Now, with Direct, like I said, everything under $3 is going to be 50%. But my plan is to start a second account. So what I'm going to do with the second account is put all my cards over that are light play or less on there, because I don't want to deal with TCGPlayer conditioning stuff. It's a headache. I don't want to do it. But also, like, 151 reverses, and your cards that are in that 250, 275 range that I don't want to spend, I don't want to pay half on, I can just put those on the other account. So there's different ways to do this to really maximize what you're getting, but direct is really just to flush out cards at a rapid rate. So this was a nice little order here. The fees were a lot less on this. It was probably closer to the 32% rate, which again is a lot, but the amount of time saved that is, I've learned doing this is that time is invaluable. So it's worth it for me. And I'll probably go into more detail in another video down the road. I'm going to start doing some pretty serious mass box openings for Magic, and Magic is like 100 times better for direct than almost any other game. So once I start getting into those mass box openings and really starting to flush and just churn and burn, these things are going to be a lot bigger and probably a lot more value and better fee ratios. But overall, $500 invoice, $600 invoice. We have one more that we actually just got today. I have to pack this thing up still. Almost 1,300 cards, 1,235 cards for $541. And again, just more bulk, common, uncommon, random ass crap. Yeah, there's not really much else to say. I mean, there are some, bulk rares that I put on here as well. But random foils that may never sell. The Pokemon on this was insane. There were so many random 39 cards. I mean, again, some of these are like competitive cards, but still, they're part of bigger orders sometimes. So just 11, 23, Buddy Poffin is like always going. Eevee, Dusclops, Dunsparce, Smoochum. Yeah, there's all sorts of stuff. All these foils for like reverse hollows. It's a lot. Now, I thought that after like the first 2 or 3, it was probably going to die down a little bit. But right now, our current open direct invoice is roughly 218 cards, and it's only been around for maybe a couple days. So for what I'm doing, and if you're trying to go down the route that I am, direct is probably something you want to do at some point. You have to have a lot of cards, and there is a big time commitment to packing these orders. And I got down to like, I think I sold that 3,000 or 4,000 cards in like 2 weeks. So I don't know if I'm going to keep up with that rate. Usually on the weekend, I'll try to do like 5,000 or 10,000 cards uploaded and listed in one lump sum. So I might be able to do it. But I'm going to be staying on it for a while, and we're going to, do some updates here and there. Like I said, in a future video, I will go through kind of in a more detailed process, my full kind of layout on what I'm going to do going forward. But yeah, I think direct is pretty cool. I'm glad I got to the point now where it's actually making some sense to get some of these low value cards going, making a decent amount. I wonder what your opinion is on it. Do you like direct? Do you not like direct? Have you been on direct before and hate it and think the fees are stupid? Or are you on it currently right now and think it's one of the best things around? I think it's pretty good, but I would love to hear what you have to say. That about does it for today. So I appreciate you guys hanging out, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.